Question is very simple. Why cannabis?
When we met the king of cannabis, Arian, we had our picture taken, we smoked a joint together.
We try to give every plant the best chance to thrive.
There's different phenos in here because this is only our fourth room, I believe.
And I'm not even sure if Arian realizes the impact that he had on us.
This is not about yield. This is about quality.
That's great. Now you just have to get your sales license.
Nothing can stop eco from growing.
It's 24/7, it's ferment. And I called up my wife and I said, what the hell did we get into?
That was the only way to create a medical product. Stay private and grow good shit.
We're just a small facility. It's a family-owned facility, but we have to rely on each other, and this is what we do.
We don't do this at Eco because it's easy. We do this because it's hard.
Every night before I leave this facility, I come in here and I stick my head in the door, and that's all I need to go home.
Wagwan, brothers and sisters.
Hey everyone,
Всем салют, меня зовут Alan.
I'm Sergey.
I just said my name is Alan. He said my name is Sergey. And now you guys introduce yourself to our subscribers.
All right. Well, thank you very much for having us here, Sergey and Alan. Welcome to Eco Canadian Organic. My name is Kevin Clark.
And my name is Denise Hanna. I am the president of Eco Canadian Organic.
Denise is my wife. My name is Brent Hanna, and I'm VP, one step behind always.
Guys, first of all, because we already saw the production process and stuff, I just want to say I'm not sure if this part will be in the episode or not, but I just want to say thank you again. System and the concept of your production we saw is an absolutely differentiate you from everybody else. I know that you guys came to this business from absolutely different industries, and cannabis is not something you started from the very beginning. Question is very simple. Why cannabis? Why you decided to move to such a tricky, new, and intense industry?
Well, I will let Brent start with this conversation. We started back in 2016, and it was Brent's idea. So I'll let him start on that, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so we started this idea, it was around the kitchen table. There was talk of legalization in Canada, and we didn't know when it was going to be. It was actually in 2015 when we first had our discussion. We just, as time went on, we just got more involved and more interested in it. Something personal happened in my family, and we started researching cannabis with a greater importance. So anyway, we decided to source out some cannabis online. We got it shipped to our address. We actually made oil with this. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Rick Simpson oil before. Yeah. We did his recipe. We actually presented it to a family member that wasn't cannabis friendly at all, that was against cannabis. They ended up taking a couple different applications, but it just wasn't enough, and it was too late for that purpose. In the meantime, before that family member consumed the cannabis, we did a lot of due diligence. We met with people, we got some testimonials, different locations in New Brunswick, different videos and different testimonies online from the Rick Simpson archives. And we just seen the real value in this plant, and we seen the benefits of it. So we started researching more, and as time went on, maybe this could be an idea. Maybe we could be a medical company. Why not? Why not us? We come from a business family, and I just sold my business in 2016, so we had some time on our hands, and we're busy people as far as full of energy, and we just wanted to have another project, another adventure. Fast forward, I mean, when we first got and we can touch on that too, when we first got our license in 2020, we wanted to be that medical company that sold and made a difference in the world and with patients and customers. But we soon found out that if you didn't rely on the rec market, you couldn't pay your bills at the end of the month. So we recognized that, we pivoted early, and we still had the focus in the back of our mind to be medical first, then rec. But it more or less switched because the landscape in 2018, when they became legalized, it pushed us in that path. So from there, we, learning every day, here every day. I was just a joke there with the first start. I was here every day during the build, but even when we opened our doors, it was 400 some days I was here every day. I never took a day off. And it's farming. So the plant will dictate when your time schedule is. They don't know the difference between Christmas Day or Monday, a regular Monday. So it's that's where we more or less started with the idea, and we thought it would be a good business idea. We thought we could. We had businesses prior that we competed against bigger centers and was very successful. So we thought we could replicate this and compete against the bigger players out there if we stuck to our lane and stuck to quality. And by saying that, we stuck to being organic, and we've never wavered from that philosophy right from the beginning. And the reason why we start in the mother and veg room is because that's where life begins, is from a mother. That's what we have here. The 4 flower rooms are 1,000 square feet. We have around 700 feet of canopy in each room.
Okay.
And they hold 396 plants each. So very, very seldom do we have a room that's empty. This one here is particularly empty right now. We're going to fill it next week. But we try to keep that real tight schedule where we do a harvest, we sanitize the room, we fill the room. So this one here was a couple days late, it's just an empty room, but we have the plants in here, and I'm gonna show you guys the plants that are gonna go in that room next week.
Okay.
Okay? We have 3 different cultivars in this room right now. I know the difference. Anybody that never seen them before probably don't, but I can pick out a different cultivar and tell you what it is. But
I can try to guess because I kind of know what 3 cultivars you guys have.
Okay.
Francos,
L'Orange,
and kiwi banana.
Right.
I will try to figure out which one is what.
Okay.
It's interesting, yeah.
So don't tell them, Brent.
Yeah.
I won't tell you.
And don't look at the buckets.
You
yes.
don't have to wear your mask in here. If
Yeah.
you want to, that's fine. You don't have to in these 2 rooms. In the flower rooms, you definitely have to. So what we try to do in here is we try to give every plant the best chance to thrive. So I don't like sharing a light. When a plant is this big, one light, that's what we need for that plant. As you'll see this little brand here, and you'll see this lot of sachets. What that is our biologicals. These are good bugs eating potentially bad bugs. It's like Kevin touched on, we don't spray anything here. So we can't come in and fog this room or spray it with an insecticide because we don't have one. What we rely on is good bugs eating bad bugs. We'll say like a ladybug, for an example, would eat something in your garden. You don't want to get rid of a ladybug in your garden because that does good. Now we're going to be taking clones on Monday, and this is an example of a clone. Beautiful. If I come in, I would cut this, and the rule of thumb with cannabis is you never take more than what you need. So for an example, I could cut it here because we have a rule of thumb. We always want to leave 2 to 3 nodes left. Okay. So there's 1, 2, 3 there. I could cut it there, but I'm wasting this one and I'm wasting this one. So I would cut that clone there. Okay? Gives me a nice 8-inch clone to work with. We measure all our clones and they end up being 6 inches. And we have very high success rate. I'm going to be taking clones from them mothers next week. And this is what we produce, is clones like this. So I can show you, maybe we'll just push that card over, Denise, please. These ones here just sprouted some roots. So they're starting. They're going to be transplanted next Thursday. So what we'll see is a full wrap of white all around that clone.
So this is our main ingredient right over here. It's the water. So that's
And love, and sweat and tears. A lot of sweat and tears. So these little 1 gallons here, we've already topped these. These are going to be, as you can see, there's going to be some roots there's roots coming out now. When we go to transplant this next Thursday.
You may also notice too, each one of these pots is labeled and identified as, lot number, the type, the species, etc. And the reason for that, and that's every pot we have in every flower room, clone trays, everything. The reason being is that we're GACP compliant. So we're happy that we just received our certification just back in January 2024. And what that allows us to do is it allows us to demonstrate to any potential prospects or purchasers of a product, whether it be domestic or international, that they know that there's a guarantee that we are following the highest standards to the World Health Organization, saying that we're cultivating and we're performing agricultural practices that are meeting that standard. And as the auditor that arrived here said, we're not meeting it, we're over exceeding it. So that GACP applies to when we take the cutting from the mum all the way until we take the harvest of the plant. So and then once it enters processing, that would get into your general manufacturing practices.
Wow.
So when it comes to processing, we're producing organic cannabis at the absolute highest level possible.
Wow. You definitely faced cannabis before in your life, right? I mean, for sure. I mean, I'm not saying that, but I always asking all our guests, did you smoke weed before?
I did back in junior high and high school. It was available around here. We have a culture here that I mean, a lot of people grew it, so it was easy access to cannabis. Strain back in the day was R2, and it's still kicking around here today, 30 years later, 40 years later. We refer to it now as kind of a running joke. We refer to it as ditch weed because probably that's what it was, and that's where we grew it. We were consumers, or I guess I was a consumer, and then I quit for a while, and then I was introduced to it again with, like I said, through 2015, 2016 experiences, and really seen the benefit of it. And from there, we don't consume every day, or I don't. But now tonight, on a Friday night, I probably will. So, yes.
I cannot say that I'm a spiritual person, but I can feel the energy. And in this place, there are lots of mother's energy.
Yes.
Like I can tell, and even you told me a little bit later, that you consider all the stuff in this place as your kids pretty much,
Yes.
and they consider you as your mother.
Yeah.
What you were doing before the?
So before getting into the cannabis industry, I was in the travel industry for over 27 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was a flight attendant, and then I became a travel agent for 17 years. Then I helped my husband with the dealership the last probably 5 years before we sold. And when we did start this journey into the cannabis space, it wasn't something that I was really for at the beginning.
When Brent were telling us about his previous
Yes.
experience, did he smoke before or not? You said I was not smoking.
I never did.
So cannabis
I
was.
was the mother that was against cannabis.
Oh, you're
Very
one
much.
of those.
I was one of those. Yeah, my son had his door locked and his toy box locked up at the age of like 15, 16, and we opened up the toy box and sure enough,
somebody got in
somebody
trouble.
had it. Yes, a lot of trouble. Yeah.
What did you tell him? When you found
I
out?
threw it all in the garbage.
Oh,
Yeah, he didn't like me too much for a while.
few our subscribers start crying right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. But I didn't understand. You know, I didn't understand the plant, its benefits, and of course, you know, you're a mother, and you know, you're at that age. They have a young brain, a young mind, and they say that it's not, you know, the brain has not been fully developed yet, so it isn't, you know, probably the best time to be consuming cannabis at that age. So. But no, I do see a place for, of course, cannabis now in the lives of people, and which brings us to when we opened our facility. Right before the build was complete, we ended up going to Niagara Falls, and that's when we met the king of cannabis, Arian, Roscav. He was there giving a presentation. He was a guest speaker. So during his speech, what really impressed me about his talk was...
So it was even before you started?
Before the building
Oh,
was
wow.
even complete.
So
Yeah.
he actually kind of affected you?
He
Right.
did.
Oh.
He did, in a big way. And it was in September 2019, and I remember listening to him speak on his journey and the medicine man that he met in Thailand while he was traveling, and how the medicine man was treating people for opioid or addiction with cannabis. After we met him, we went over and we, you know, asked if we could have a picture with him, and we, you know, began talking about our business, what we were doing. And he was so good to us. We had our picture taken, we smoked a joint together, and then afterwards he gave us his cell number. He said, call anytime.
Wow.
If you have any questions, call us anytime. He really, he liked what we were doing and how we were doing it. We were a private company, family owned, and that meant he believed in that. He believed in organic and, you know, our methodologies and what we were trying to do. And I'm not even sure if Arian realizes the impact that he had on us as, you know, as a company. You know, if he hears this today, this might be a bit of a surprise to him. I don't know if he actually knows that.
I don't think we've ever told him.
No, no.
Go on in.
Wow, what a smell! Like even I can feel it through my mask.
You can go like this.
Wow, yo, these things are. Wow.
So these ones still have a little over a month to grow, and what they'll do is they will get fat. The top ones
Yeah.
will get fatter, of course. As you can see, we trim them up, and you're going to see the different cultivars. Like you might have noticed in our mother room where the cultivar, the kiwi, is a short little bushy.
Yeah.
This is a short bush. This is the kiwi one. We're gonna go into Frankel's full gas, and we're gonna go into lemon orange and say it's a different plant altogether, but it is a different plant.
Are you guys using any like top dressing nutrients or something like that? Any
Nothing.
like
Nothing.
humic, folic acids? Nothing.
Nothing.
So since the plants, you put the plants in your soil, there is water only. That's it.
Right.
Period.
And light.
Now it's a proper time to ask you about the soil recipe.
Okay.
What is your soil? What is it? Why? What? Like so, as far as I understand, once you put the plants in here, right? The plants look very healthy. Looks like you don't really face any deficiencies. It's enough of everything. So and I'm just guessing you're also trying to provide the proper microbiological life in the pots as well. So what is the recipe?
Well, it's a little bit
The
of an
secret
industry
recipe.
secret.
I understand. I understand. I understand.
So as you can see, this is living soil.
This
Okay.
is a living soil.
Living soil.
Oh, I can see this.
So if you drove your hand down in that,
I can
maybe
see
not
it's
right today,
alive.
it's alive.
Yeah.
But it will heat up. It'll cook here for about 7 days. Because this is fresh soil.
Yeah.
So we won't use this for 7 days. There's 4 skids of it. There's 2 older skids. We'll use that first. We won't do anything with this for 7 days. We'll let it cook, and then after the 7 days, it's ready to go.
Wants to cool down a little bit.
Yeah, once it cools down, and then it's starting to work.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You still didn't answer me what's the recipe of the soil, but it's okay.
I'm in 22 compounds.
Uh-huh.
All organics.
22 compounds. Okay.
Correct. All organics.
Yeah.
And it's curated and remediated so that it meets our specification. Unfortunately, we can't go too much into it because there's a licensing confidentiality.
I
on
understand. Yeah.
that. But at the end of the day, the soil works, and it's specifically engineered, designed, scientifically proven. All you need to do is just add water. The whole idea here is, like Bren mentioned, this is not about yield. This is about quality. And that's the difference between us. We could put a whole bunch of nutrients in this, and we can blow this room right up. We still have 6-7 more feet of ceiling. We can go higher. But our philosophy is we're focused on pharmaceutical, medical grade, and we pride ourselves on just 2 simple ingredients. So there's 4 sensors. Okay, so these sensors are detecting relative humidity, temperature, and CO2. We do bring CO2 into the room, and you'll see that there's 1 in each corner. They take an average, and then the room and the mechanicals, they'll adjust based on the parameters that we put into the system.
Did you actually like, when you just started the production facility, organic was the choice from the very beginning?
It was. We never, I can say we never ever thought of anything else but
You
organic.
were related to the organic approach in your like regular life as well. Like I mean, like you like eating organic food,
Yes, we
like
eat
drinking organic
healthy.
drinks. Yeah.
Yes.
Grew up on a farm. Like we have that background. We are our lawn, our plants, our shrubs. We're into that gardening. You know, not to this level, but yeah. And the consultants that they more or less, and thank God the consultants that we partnered with, they were all about organic.
Yeah.
And they said, if you want to be different, and I'm so glad that they didn't have to do a lot of convincing, but they did, this is the path we want you to go.
Yeah.
And we suggest this, and so we believe them, because if we wouldn't have done that, we might just be a statistic today. Like, who knows where we'd be. But we niched out this market where there's only 5 certified clean green organic certifications in Canada. We're one of them out of 900 licensed producers. So we stand apart, and if other companies want to mimic what we're doing, which they maybe can, but it's a 3-year process, because it took us that long.
Yes.
And we started right from the beginning. And they would have to have a new building and so on and so forth. So we're, as far as the organic, it was all the way, stay in your lane, put your head down and go to work.
But as far as organic too, that was the only way to create a medical product, because
Clean.
really, you know, if you're not organic, how do you have a medical product?
So this one here is getting closer to harvest. This is April 17th, and this is full gas. So you're going to get a different experience here. You're going to say, the plant doesn't even look the same way. But that, I want you to say, I want you to have that right.
Full gas.
Yeah, Frankel's full gas, right from Amsterdam.
Yep. Woo! Those are so different though.
That's it. That's it.
Oh my God. This is a gas,
Smell that,
gas. This is gas powered 3. Yeah, I love it.
It's a sweet. It's sweet, isn't it? It's a sweet.
It is sweet. Yeah.
It's a mild. How do you describe it, Kevin?
I say it's like a confectionery sweet taffy is what I call it.
It does not smell skunky at all.
No.
No.
No, it's like a fruity
Yeah.
gasoline, something like that.
Now you can see that we cut up on the trellis a little bit, or cut up on the plant a little bit higher, because this is a taller plant. So we want to drive the energy into all our top colas. And these still have another 2.5 weeks to get puffier. Then what we'll do after 14 days prior to harvest is we'll start cooling down the room. Just a 0.5 degree every day. And what we'll do is we'll switch our light on the last 7 days to a blue light. So it's mimicking the fall. It's what it's doing. That's what it's doing. It's telling the plant that it's harvest time in the fall, and that's what we're trying to mimic. Another thing we do with our lights too, which maybe a lot of companies don't do, I don't know, is we wake up our plants and we put our plants to bed with our light. So we gradually
Sunrise and
decrease
sunset.
the intensity, and in the morning we increase the intensity.
So you use this practice. You found it like good. You found it works.
It's like us. It's like us with an alarm clock. Do you want to jump right out of bed, or do you want to hit the snooze? We hit the snooze button for 10 minutes and we let the plant gradually get used to everything, and then the lights go back to whatever that recipe might be, and then it's good for the next 12 hours. So this one here is April 2nd, which is Tuesday?
It's Tuesday,
Tuesday.
next week.
Ooh, those ones are ready.
Now you smell.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This is actually exactly the smell I got from the bag when I opened it, and I'm surprised because the fresh flower smells exactly the same. And to be honest, it shows a lot. If you don't miss this smell from the fresh plant to the dry plant and then to the smoking experience, this is it. It means that you guys are open the genetics completely, and you guys are doing a great job with especially with this one, because we tried this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
The plants
can
look
smell the
phenomenal.
lemon and orange.
The smell is just.
Well, part of working with strain hunters, of course, we have to strain hunt ourselves. We have to do pheno hunts.
Yeah.
So we started with, what was it?
11.
No, how many did we start with?
Oh,
seeds?
50.
We started
50 of
with
each.
50 seeds, and we started the program on April 20th. And then from there, those 50, we then narrowed it down to 11 phenotypes. And then from 11 phenotypes, we kept narrowing it down as we look for, what is the brand of Lemerange? What does Greenhouse Seed Company, what do they want to focus on? How do they want their product to look? Also, how does it perform? What's the potency in the cannabinoids? What's the terpene values? Just because you have high THC doesn't mean that's going to be the best product. You're going to want to look at it from a business standpoint. You want to make sure it has the right yield, the right structure, the right health, and the right profiles for the market that you're putting into. But you can see right here, Sergey, and Alan, that there's different phenos in here, because this is only our 4th room, I believe. So
You're still kind of pheno hunting. You're still in process.
We've completed the pheno hunt, but by the time we started taking these cuttings about 70 days ago, we were still in process of that pheno hunt. So the next room that we're loading, which the clones right now, that's 1 pheno.
Every night before I leave this facility, I come in here and I stick my head in the door, and that's all I need to go home.
I know, right?
It
It's
me out.
an impressive smell.
It sends me out.
I'm not trying to impress you guys. I'm actually impressed with the smell here, because I smell a lot of different strains. I smoke a lot of different strains. I grew a lot of different strains, but I never smell anything like that. Like this is Lemorange. When we were smoking it on the stream, we were not lying. It's an impressive strain. I don't want to touch it. Ah!
Here we go.
I'm not joking, but I'm actually becoming a little bit like drunk, kinda,
Yep.
high a little bit.
Yep.
The smell
The
is,
smell is
oh my
amazing.
god.
Intensive.
Yeah, the power of terpenes.
Yeah.
What is the main terpene in this particular strain?
Amazing.
Limonene.
Limonene. Mhm.
So this is actually a collaboration that Greenhouse Seed did with the Crockett family in California.
Okay.
So they took their world famous Cannabis Cup Award winning Super Lemon Haze,
Okay.
and they mixed it with the Crockett family's Clementine and Magic. So I believe, I could be wrong, if I recall correctly, they created this about 10 or 15 years ago. And of course
But this is very, very, very sativa-ish smell.
That's what it
yes,
is.
Yeah.
this is
It's
a
about
full
80%.
sativa.
80%.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very, very rare right now to even find something like that. Again, I repeat myself, but most of the strains nowadays are very like skunky.
Oliver, this is Alan
Hey, what's up? Nice to meet you,
and
man.
Sergey.
He's responsible for them flowers in them rooms.
Oh, really?
Yes.
To me, yeah, we're the ones who take care of all the
Oh.
potting plants and everything.
Nice to meet you, man. Yeah, I know.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
I was just joking.
I wasn't sure.
Because this is the similar people are coming from
Oh,
there.
dude, everybody, we all look the same coming out of the rooms. Yeah, exactly. Harvest days too, we usually wear all black, so you can't tell the difference between them.
yeah.
It's a funeral those days.
So which flower is your favorite one out of three?
Lemorange.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a sativa head, so I was a big fan of Super Lemon Haze back in the day. So when I heard that we were getting a genetic that had parentage from Super Lemon Haze, I was so excited to hear it. Yeah, glad to get OKBC back going again too, because yeah, that's the kind of classic for us that we have. And yeah, as far as you know, the classic indica, like put you down, put you to relax, that there's not really much better than that. What about you, sativa or indica preference?
Honestly, good taste.
Okay, yeah, that's
Good
fair.
taste.
More over everything.
For me,
yeah?
smell and taste is the most important.
I find like a lot of the time people will, I worked in stores in Calgary for a little while.
Oh, wow.
People tend to kind of pick terpenes based on kind of what works for them. Like the smell, oftentimes it's associated with like an effect that works for you as well, you know?
Yeah.
Because for instance, limonene, like Lemorange, it's known to be a little bit more of like a pick-me-up, get you going a little bit. That's exactly what I like out of my cannabis. I like something that gets me up, gets me a little bit happier, it gets me moving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then the other one would be with like OKBC, that myrcene content, that like kind of heavy, earthy smell that kind of comes through a little bit as well. That's the stuff that's gonna put you right down into bed. And like when I was working in the stores, I found like people almost self-selected, you know, like they like the smell of the effect that they were going for as well. It's pretty cool.
You know what I want to say? You guys are all so ready for the interviews. Like boom, right away.
Nah, you just
Here's
want-
the content.
That's just me with weed, man. Anytime you get me going and I won't be able to stop.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks,
Yeah.
man. Nice to meet you, man.
Good to meet you as well, guys. Thanks a lot. I gotta go make sure everyone's doing okay.
How you guys actually like got to this idea to grow it for strain hunters?
So one day we hit this really high cannabinoid profile in one of our rooms, and I got really excited. So I just texted Arian and I said, "Guess what?" And he said, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "And that's organic? So let's get on a call." So we jumped on a call. He was in his at his house in Ibiza, Spain. And we're all excited, the whole team, you know, we all gathered around the computer. And so that's how the whole conversation began. And we were really excited to be able to collaborate with them and, you know, and showcase their genetics here in Canada and make them proud. So
Why were these specific genetics were picked?
they were picked by Dust and Arian. They wanted us to have their two best genetics that they were starting
grew
off
in
with in Thailand. So they wanted us to showcase those here in Canada. Yeah.
It speaks for itself, to be
It
honest.
does.
Like your organic approach to your business were absolutely matching with what I know about Arian.
Yeah.
We never met yet. Very soon in
Yeah.
June, by the way.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. But we had only one conversation so far, and he's all way organic. He don't want to listen about anything else.
No.
And the way he selects his strains
Yes.
is an absolutely different game.
Yeah.
And I think for Eco, like absolute honor to be associated with Franco Loja as the Franco's Full Gas, paying homage to the master of breeders. I knew about Strain Hunters. I remember watching it, 10, 15 years ago on YouTube when YouTube first came out, and I'm like, this is amazing. And then you hear his story, and of course you speak with Greenhouse Seed Company, incredible people, by the way. As I got more and more involved with Greenhouse Seed Company, I started studying them more and more and understanding about the philanthropy that Franco had and the impact that he had on so many communities, and how he was so focused on wellness and trying just to be the best and risk it all, and the inspiration that you see from that, and realizing that like this is a lot more than just a name. This is a very, very important part of cannabis history. Like we know how to grow. But they've been growing this for a decade. And the thing is well, how can they assist us? And so just highly involved to the point where, dust came down for a week last year to announce the collaboration together. And we had he was coming down here for a few reasons. One is to see who we were. Are these the type of people that we say we are? And just like yourself today, like this is no act. This is us.
One thing he said to us in Niagara Falls, and I always remembered it, and he still continues to say it to me, is stay private and grow good shit. That's it.
We're gonna use this advice.
And
I'm gonna
that was
remember
the two things he always said to us. And when we reconnect once in a while, I'll say we're still private, and we're growing good shit. But it's that was always his philosophy, and he, to this day, he still believes that, because there are a lot of sharks out there. So, yeah.
Here we have our dry room set up. Of course, we hang dry. Now this room currently doesn't have any plants in it, but it's been staged and it's ready. Essentially, where we have bins that are designated only for harvest, as well as other instruments in here. So we actually got creative because we have to be creative. When we first started our business 3 years ago, when we harvest, we used dry racks. So that was 3 years ago. The market changed and so did our philosophy. So what we ended up doing is we abandoned the rack system, now we hang dry. And what we do is there'd be racking systems based in here, which you'll see in photos and other videos. And we're able to do a tier system. So for the sativa plants, that could be as long as 5 or 6 feet tall, versus the indica plants could be about 3 feet tall. It depends on how we tier these through. So we have a mini split built in here where we are able to control the temperature from this room to that room to match that. It makes it a lot easier to work with the plant at the end of the day, because you're not gumming up your fiskars, your gloves, and not having to change them as much. The other thing I want to touch on too is you see these all through in our facility.
I was about to ask, what is it?
Okay, so it's an air purifier.
Oh, okay.
Pro guards.
Yeah, it uses, it's a Pro Guard, but it purifies the air in the room. So what it does is that all the microbes that we cannot see in this room, it's going to suck it in through a filter, and then it's going to ionize those microbes.
Okay.
And then it's going to eject fresh, clean air, right? So we, some people, at least I've talked to, we have these running full time in our flower rooms, and they're saying, well, it's killing your terpenes. Again, we are putting quality first, and we're putting cleanliness first. We're clean green certified, and it's very important that we have clean air for the plant to breathe. Essentially what we do is we bring the product in here, we cut out the stems. You'll have an operator who will then essentially take the stem. They've been trained on how to approach.
You guys are trimming by yourself. The whole squad is trimming, I guess.
All
And we
in-house.
bring in a few people.
With their eyes closed.
Exactly. So it's all done in-house. We have some very good trimmers, and we have new staff that are learning. And what we kind of do is we create like an internal competition. Well, we'll have 2 people staged at a table, 2 bins, who can produce the best quality trim. It's not about being fast. It's about being efficient.
Just to touch
Quality
on the,
instead of quantity is going through your whole philosophy.
every
Yeah,
step.
every step.
Even we have it dialed in where if we have product, this unplugs. When we have bud in here, that shuts off. So you notice it running in the dry room right now. When we have plants hanging in there, it doesn't run. So like, we're not going to take anything away from that plant that doesn't need to be taken away from.
Well, what we would do is we'd have those bins. We would then collect them in these gamma buckets. I mean, it doesn't have to be rocket science. We collect the bins, we put the product in here, we fill it to a specific height, we seal it, okay? And then what we do is we agitate the product. We hand it on its side, we rotate them every day. We have a record for curing and burping the product. The burping, usually I give direction of how long it should last for. Some products we have, 5 minutes a day.
Kevin, how you found Denise and Brent?
Yeah, I guess like for me, I was coming out of the alcohol, beer and spirits and wine. And it was during lockdown, and I had an opportunity where I had a break from my work, and one of my passions has always been, I've been a consumer for about 25 years now, is cannabis, of course. And working in the wine industry, the company I was working for was planning on moving into cannabis as a beverage. So I already had to study the legislation, I already had to be involved in looking at risk assessment and risk management, determine whether it was the direction for the company at the time. And so for me, there was an opportunity that popped up, and I'm like, you can get a diploma in cannabis? Are you kidding me? So I started developing some goals, and I didn't want to enter this industry at an entry level. I didn't want to enter it as a management level. I wanted to make a difference. And I realized in consulting with AAPS that they said the people that make the biggest impact on cannabis are QAPs. And so that was the small little kind of education that I was required, is just to get some more cannabis science behind myself, so Health Canada would recognize that as my application as a QAP.
So meanwhile, we were here, we opened our doors in October of 2020, and you came on board in September 2021.
September 2021, right?
So we had a QAP, but she was virtual because of COVID and everything, and she lived in Moncton. And the lady, Vasiliki, at AAPS, she kept saying, Denise, you have to get a full-time QAP, you have to find one. I'm like, yes, I know, we really, really need one. Like, because the company was starting to, we were growing. And so one day she emailed me and she said, I have this guy who is looking for a position. And I said, well, would he be willing to come to Rexton? Like, would he be willing? She said, I think so. Would you like to, interview him? And then she also had another one in out west. So we just said, yep, let's get on a Zoom call. And there was Kevin on the other end. And we had a really great interview with Kevin. And actually, when we got off the Zoom call, we thought, he's not going to want to come. He's not going to want to come to this small town. He's young, he's single, So we thought, well, we'll offer him the job and see how it goes. And sure enough, we offered him the job.
He rented a U-Haul.
He rented a U-Haul, and he's
Headed east.
Yeah, and we were so excited because after the interview we realized we were going to be getting quality, and we knew that he was very intelligent just by the way, and passionate about. Although we didn't know how passionate he was, because he really never expressed how passionate he was about cannabis, more the QAP side. So once he got here and we got to know him a little better, then the whole cannabis, that side of it came out, and it's great because he has both. He has that quality assurance mindset along with the passion for cannabis. And in this industry, it's really hard to find both.
You need a balance.
And there's not very many. I shouldn't speak out of turn, but I think that we've got the best QAP in Canada.
I totally agree with you. I totally
I think
agree.
we do.
It's
Yeah.
no doubt. Everything
Yeah.
matched.
And I
in
say
your-
that
in your
sincerely.
Pathway, yeah.
Yeah.
Spirit of the logistics, we have soil, we have water. How much more difficult can it get? So when you say if it's hard, so there's a layer to that though. It's the sanitization program, it's the hygiene program, it's the training, it's making sure that we're having, you know, not only just passionate, you can't train that, but we have dedicated people that are aware of the consequences of not following these, because the biggest threat we have to our plants is people. And we can put as many programs in place as we want. We can have the best environmentals that you can ask for, but at the end of the day, if we're not respecting the program, it does get shown, and it's obvious. And that sanitization, as you've seen and as you'll see in the video, guys, is we take a lot of pride in that.
I feel myself like I'm in a hospital or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you have clothes for
I do.
guys here? Okay. Yeah, I'm
pick
gonna get mine.
So
Golden, number one stunner, OG. Those, who are all these names? Oh, now I understand. There's the OG, of course. Yeah, who's the great one?
this is the owner, Brent Hannon.
Or I
That's
thought
right.
it's both of yours.
That's right. I overlaid that sticker.
Oh, yeah.
But no, we have a wonderful team. We have Mark Golden. We have
That's actually his last name.
that's his last name.
Oh, that's cool.
Mark Golden. So he's a propagation tech. We have our number one
Golden
stunner.
propagation.
That's right. Our number one stunner, Oliver. He's the one who manages the flower rooms. We have OG and Denis. He's our head of cultivation. And then we have Dawson, who supports Oliver as his assistant in the flower room. Of course, you have the top G. Never gave myself that name, guys. But that's, of course, me as the QAP and director of operations. And, of course, you have the owner and vice president, Brent Hanning.
Brent, yeah.
So.
Nice.
So
And,
pretty much only 6 people.
Six men, and I think only 6 people in production. But just remember, don't panic, guys. It's
Yeah, it's organic.
okay.
So 6 people are running this place, managing this place.
We have myself and Brand New manage and oversee
Okay.
operations, and then we have our people that we put in place to make sure that they're following sanitization programs as well as the cultivation program.
Okay. And how many people in total?
In total, we have I believe we're up to 11 full-time staff and that work in operations, and then we have Danica as well who works in the farm gate. And we look forward to sharing that with you guys as well.
Cool.
Yeah. So part of the process is you may come to other cannabis facilities and you'll see them, they'll maintain their street clothes, in some cases even their street shoes. And they'll come into the facility because they have different methodologies for sanitization. As I mentioned earlier, too high of a risk. So what we do is we do a complete and full degown. So we provide clean scrubs that we clean on site and basically get right down to your basically your socks and underwear. And like I mentioned earlier, at this stage, if you're not compliant, we do have these wonderful, nice clean showers that you can have.
Cool.
And we always encourage our staff. So if they are transplanting, they're covered in soil, and they may transition to processing application, that they'll have a shower to remove any of those contaminants and soil that may have on them before they enter a different processing area. This next room is just a positive displacement of air as well.
Okay.
So that whatever we're possibly bringing in, which could be pathogens from someone using the bathroom, coming in here, this will stop that airflow. Also, just another reminder, there's no jewelry. Make sure that you're not in contact with any other cannabis plants whatsoever. Nail polish, everything right down as a reminder of what you need to do before you come in.
Nail polish.
Correct.
Why so?
So a nail polish could have chemicals in them. They can flake off, and that can go into our product.
Yo, these guys are so organic. You cannot even have a nail polish. Wow. Jewelry is not allowed.
No jewelry, yeah. So any jewelry, specifically metal jewelry.
Yes,
that's
I
the
had a
biggest
metal one. Yeah.
So what you do is this door would shut, and then this door would shut behind you, and that displaces the air.
Okay.
So that when we enter this next room, this is the 5th room, which is our gowning room. So this is the last step that we come in, and before we enter the facility, it's probably one of the most critical steps for hygiene as well, is we've already validated those other steps. Now it's about protecting and sanitizing ourselves. So in this room, we'd grab our sanitization personal protective equipment. So it's going to start with a hairnet, and I know you're not going to need one, but we'll need a beer net, and we'll start out with a mask as well.
Okay.
So place the mask on. There's certain areas where a mask isn't required. For example, like veg. because there's no food that's being exposed. But what we'll do is we'll wear a mask just throughout, so just easier that way. You got one as well. Even when we have our staff that are using the washroom, we restrict them from bringing their swipe keys, their cell phones, any personal electronic equipment into the bathroom with them. Again, just another measuring step.
You guys thought we were joking when we told you that we are going on a top-notch facility?
And then at that stage, we have one last station where we're going to use hydrogen peroxide to also wash our hands. So we use 3 pumps, and then we just make sure that we get everything fully sanitized. Again, what this will do is...
3, not 2.
I use 3. And the
He doesn't
reason...
pay for it. I want them to use I pay for it, so I want them to use 2 or 1 big one.
Exactly. And what that will do is it'll clean, disinfect, and remove any type of microbiological contaminant that may be on your hand. It would kill it instantly.
Yes.
And of course, your final stage is you do your self-check. Okay, do I have all my equipment on? This is the whole point of going through 5 different doors. So now that we're fully gowned, now we can enter the facility.
How difficult it was in the beginning when you just started?
So
I guess it was like several stages, right?
the biggest challenge of our lives. This was the biggest undertaking, the biggest project Brent and I have ever been through. From the build.
Can I just add something there too? It's
Yeah.
the banking in
Yeah.
the Canadian landscape.
Yeah.
I've always dealt with all the banks through car dealerships, and I had a great relationship. And when we sold our businesses, they said, you know, anytime that you'd want to lend money, borrow money, come back and we'll give you whatever you need. So we were banking on that conversation, and it really was an eye opener when we approached the bank in April, and they said, no, we don't do cannabis. I said, what? We were just presumed that they did. All the major banks, they don't touch it. It was just seemed to be hurdle after hurdle for us to even open a bank account in Canada. We had to pay them to open an account, a checking account. As crazy as it sounds, it just really it's not business friendly in the cannabis space.
And we're not used to that.
And we're not used to that because it was always friendly in the businesses we were in. We didn't have our hands tied. A struggle from the beginning, of course, because we were learning it. We would have one accomplishment and then we'd work toward another one. We would have one accomplishment, work toward another one. We might give ourselves a hug or a high five, but then we couldn't do anything else because we had to go back to work. So we did celebrate the wins, but it was very minimal. We should have taken more time and celebrated these wins because Denise did a lot of behind the scenes upstairs. It was always the joke that I'm downstairs, she's upstairs. And then we just seemed to make it work.
We received what was called, back then, it was called your letter of readiness, which said, okay, you've been approved, you can build your building. That letter of readiness back in 2019 meant a lot. It was like worth a lot of money. And so when we started to build, Health Canada came out and said, oh, you don't need a letter of readiness now. All you need to do is build your building and then we'll approve it. So a lot of companies, said, no, we're not taking that risk. So anyway, we were already in the build. We finished building in 2020. We sent it's called an evidence package to Health Canada, and then they approved it. And then we opened our doors with our cultivation license. And I remember calling this LP in Nova Scotia and being so excited that we received our license. And she kind of took the wind out of my sails when she said, that's great, now you just have to get your sales license. And I said to her, oh yeah, like that's no big deal.
You have to...
She said, no, Denise, it took a team of like 10 people about 9 months to get this sales license. So then it was like starting from, the bottom up again, working towards getting a sales license. Back then took a good, I did it by myself with AAPS, and it took, I think it was, we opened in October and we got our license in June 2021. We got our sales license. So we did really great. And then after that, it was our extracts. And then Kevin came along and we got our R&D. We got our, it was just one. So we have now all the licenses under Health Canada.
This is the lungs of the facility.
This is not a sexy room, but I find it is because it's very, very important to what we do here at Eco. We have 9 of these units controlling 9 rooms. It's what we do with this unit here. It's responsible for 1,000 square feet. So it's really overkill in a way, but we don't share air. So in my flower rooms, my veg room, my mother room, they don't share air. And a problem in the cannabis industry is when you share air, there's airborne particles that could go into each other's rooms, and we limit that. So as you can see, as we walk through, different units, humidifiers for each room individually. Like I said, we don't share air. These are all our chillers. We actually have 2 big chillers outside, one for a backup, and one's running right now. One will run the facility. We have another chiller that is for backup. I'll tell you a little story. Back in February 2020, I was on the job site every day when we were building this. I'm not a contractor by no means, but I learned a lot from being here. And I looked out the window one February morning, 2020, and I see 9 tractor trailers out there with this HVAC on it. And I called up my wife and I said, what the hell did we get into? Because when they mentioned HVAC, I did not realize they were going to be to this extent. I was thinking more of a big mini split. This is a big mini split. So we're very proud of that fact. Also, we have it undercover. A lot of these facilities, they have these units either on a pad out back or on rooftop, where we have them inside, out of the weather. They're going to last a lot longer, so they're not out with the conditions. And this way here, if I do have a mechanical problem with this unit here, the people that come in and fix it, the technicians, they don't have to go into the room. So I don't have to shut down production, or I don't have to hamper production in any way, or the flow of the day, because they can repair it upstairs where it's not interfering with my day-to-day. For an example, if this HVAC did happen to go down, I could piggyback off of this one with this sleeve. I just put that sleeve in there, and then I would be able to run the 2 rooms efficiently, and that way there I don't stop anything. I just keep everything flowing until this one's repaired. So we took a lot into consideration as far as preparing this for the worst case scenario. And part of that is a standby generator. I have a 12-cylinder Detroit diesel generator that will run this facility if the power goes out. It comes on automatically. I don't want it to run because it burns 1,000 liters an hour. With the price of fuel today, I don't want it to run. But the thing is, it will run. It will run the facility. Our longest power outage was, I think, 3 hours. Generator was started, makes a loud noise. It keeps everything running.
Beautiful, non-stop.
Keeps my rooms cool, keeps my rooms heated, keeps what I need to be able to just continue on, and turns on the lights.
Nothing can stop Eco from growing.
It's 24/7, it's farming. This is my mechanical room here. I just want to show you the magnitude of the power supply that is required to run a facility like this.
Okay. Holy!
As you can see, it's bigger than your home 200 amp meter.
Wow.
So this is 2,500. I have enough power running in this facility that I can build another facility this size and run it from the power that I get in. A little bit bigger wire that's running into our homes or our apartments.
Crazy. Sergey probably crying a little bit because he used to be an electric engineer.
Oh yes, well this would be your element.
Yeah.
I try to avoid going over to the meter because I'm in a good mood right now. If I go over there, I'm not so much because it makes me dizzy too because it's going really, really fast.
Yeah.
This is my panel right here for my backup generator. So like I was saying, it will run, and here's my breakers. It will run everything as soon as the power runs out. It's a 30-second delay. She fires up. You can hear it. And she just runs the facility.
So this is the heart of the facility.
This is the heart. It's not here. It's here.
Yeah.
That's the heart. Yeah. So I just wanted to show you the size of the conduits running in the pipes.
Impressive.
It's
Look
big
at
unit.
these cables. Looks like the those internet cables under the ocean.
That's something. Yeah. We could probably run this little town with as much power as we're producing here. So as you can see, all our HVAC ducting and everything is all wrapped. And this way here, we don't get as much condensation. We keep everything neat and clean. Sanitization is very, very crucial to what we do here every day. And that's why we can come out with such a clean product on the other end. And this is just one step. But our environmentals are very, very important to keep temperature, humidity, and CO2 at where we want them to be, depending on the age of the plant.
Brent, you said you can power the whole town with this room. In my
Well-
opinion, you can power the whole town with your own energy, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, I do
You are
have
the proper person to run this place.
I do have some energy. I get criticized sometimes for that, but we do get a lot of things done in a day.
Yeah.
And we wear a lot of hats because we have to.
Yes.
We're just a small facility. It's a family-owned facility, but we have to rely on each other, and this is what we do. Back in 2019, we had a general contractor, but it was Denise and I's responsibility. Well, we took it upon ourselves to interview every sub that worked here. So for an example, it might sound crazy, but even our electrician. Did you work on a cannabis facility before? Yeah, I worked on this one, and this one. Check, okay, good. HVAC, same thing. And like we more or less did our due diligence on the subs before we said yes to their quote, because they had experience in cannabis, and they probably did make some mistakes because there was mistakes along the way. So we prevented them mistakes from happening at this facility. Did we go to extreme? We're having no wood in here. Most facilities have wood. Most facilities wouldn't have the HVAC that we have. Is it overkill? Probably, but we're seeing results in the end product. So there's a price for quality, and we paid it. This spare room has a cement floor that can hold weight of an extraction machine. So we had this design to be able to bring in an extraction machine, and we were looking at that option. We pivoted from there since. We're going to do what we're good at. We're growers. That's what we do. We're going to let the extraction people be good at what they do, and they extract. So this room, we're throwing around some ideas now. Right now, we're at capacity downstairs. We're looking for product because we're selling everything that we grow. So we're looking at different ideas up here, whether it be another flower room or we switch our mother and veg room around. We're just tossing that idea around because it's space that we could use right now in the market. So
Now I understand why your nugs are so dense and beautiful. They're just working out here, I guess.
there you go. Yeah. There's a lot of dust on them machines.
Yeah.
It was a good intention, but I don't think they've moved since 3 years ago.
I want to ask kind of like a sharp question. If you don't want to answer, you don't need to. How much money you invested in the project?
A lot.
A lot.
And a lot of it is our private money, personal. And we have a few investors that are on board. But no, it's private money and family owned. So yeah.
You have to
So
have a
if-
goal to risk like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because
No,
you
it was
build
a
the
big-
facility first.
It was a big.
Not thousands, millions.
It was a big risk.
Yeah.
It was a huge risk. But now we really feel like we climbed that steep mountain, and now we have finally reached the top.
So here's the Eco-Canadian team, all the rest of them.
Smells everywhere. It smells so good.
So it's very simple. Even though we've hand trimmed this product, we'll still clean it up.
Look how
Why?
dense it is.
Because we're very much focused on quality, right? So
There are some rumors, especially about the organic methods of growing, that organic plants are usually not that dense and stuff.
We're
Guys,
proving them wrong.
guys, I mean, I have nothing to say. Just this stuff is really dense. The nug is absolutely complete. The amount of trichomes is insane. Smell is great. So honestly, organic is the way.
To go.
So what they would do is, we usually put about 1 kilogram of product on the table. It's always tough, guys, because you deal with this much product on your table, then you go home with your little 3.5 bag, and you're like, that's it. But what they do is you can see here, they scale out the product until they get 3.5 grams. That's how dense the product is. It doesn't look like a lot, but it's packed, density of weight. So that then gets transitioned over to Denis over here, and we'll just walk down the table here. I want to get a nice shot of this. Oh, right on.
Very often, eh? It's kind of nice to see.
So like, one of the things too is bag appeal. I mean, everyone puts their best foot forward, but then the next batch comes out and just kind of is inconsistent. So when we put on our bags, you're getting one nice cola, right? This is premium quality. That's what we emphasize.
This is actually how I got my kiwi banana cabana. It was literally one nice, beautiful nut.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And that's what we focus on. You know, we value the price point that we put at, and we want our consumers to receive that price point quality back. Again, very simple operation, right? Just like how we grow, is essentially like Denis is going to show here, is he receives little trays or dishes of product. He simply just puts it in the bag. The bag has already been pre-labeled, so the bag's already been pre-labeled. So really the only part is, like Denis showing, is we just simply open it. What's different about our label is we don't just put. This is the requirement right here. That's all it's required to put in our back label. We've extended it where we focus on package date, harvest, terpenes, flavor, grow method, breeder, cultivated by, and process treatment. What we're doing here is we're actually removing, so we're replacing them and then we're sealing, heat sealing, so we can seal the package in. What this machine does is we'll evacuate the air from inside the bag. So one of the things that we pride ourselves on is we package a high quality, fresh product. So from the time it gets harvested to the next step is that we're gonna have product that is not 2 years old, not 6 months old as harvest. It was harvested 5 weeks ago. It's going right into our bag here. We do not put in Bovita packs or booster packs into ours because it's not required, we don't need it. It's nice.
Such a dense bud.
Whoa, yeah.
It can be done.
What is this bag? It's the best nugs?
So what we do is we complement the bag. So typically what we do is we're gonna grab a large off of our table, and if it weighs like, let's say 3 grams, we'll complement with a small. If this weighs like 2 grams, then we'll have another medium, then we complement with small. So the ratio is always gonna be probably like 40%, 40%, 20%, okay? You'll never buy any of our bags where it's just smalls. So Alan, would you like to?
To get the whole thing? Definitely, I'm taking it. Okay, thank you so much, man.
That's right. Thanks for coming.
Unfortunately, whatever I hold, I don't give back anymore, you know? Thank you, guys. Oh, one more thing, I forgot. We always asking our guests to say some words, you know, something about whatever. Any vibe you can send to our subscribers. Whatever you want to say, whatever is in your head, whatever is in your mind, whatever you want to leave them.
Well, I mean, this was our story, eco story, and if it can, it is possible to be a mom and pop business and make it in this crazy world of cannabis. So when you're having a bad day and you need a little a lift, just think of maybe the eco team here, because we had a number of bad days also, but we just rose to the occasion and we pulled together and worked hard. And stay humble, stay true, and it'll all come together.
You know the old adage, no effort, no reward. There's nothing more rewarding than seeing the fruits of your labor, but you have to realize it's not going to happen. Whatever you're doing today, you won't see it tomorrow, you won't see it next week, you won't even see it 6 months from now. And I think for me, the inspirational message I can give to your subscribers is, you know, create a goal, understand how you're going to achieve that goal, and then stick with it. And realize that we don't do this at Eco because it's easy. We do this because it's hard.
This is all we have.
Oh, sorry.
This is it. This is packaged goods going to our farm gate store. That's all the bulk flour we have. We're milling this next week, putting that in bags next week. So this is all the flour we have in our vault. So what would we have, Kevin? 75 kgs?
About 70, and not only that, I just added this morning. So yesterday this was empty. The lemon orange is a hot product, as you guys know. This is our 3rd room we ran through. The the full gas, where we've already blown through our first and second lot. This would be like pre-rolls that we had several of these buckets filled, and now we want to get a nice aromatic of that. So this will be filled with about 2,000 joints in here. And
smells like
And again, all the pre-rolls are all they're all hand,
hand
twisted. They're all hand,
twisted.
the whole team makes them. And
our product's fresh.
looks like, guys, you need more stuff. People love your stuff. I can tell.
I know.
Shelves are empty.
This just got milled, I guess, a week ago. So it's really important people understand we do not use trim. We use 100% flower. So we have it all destemmed, and we ensure that the quality and consistency is always going to be there.
So your pre-rolls actually are flowers.
100% flower, always has been.
No shake, no stick.
Because it's actually a big problem in the industry, because people usually buying a pre-rolls, for example, after trying a flower, they smoking it and it's absolutely different.
Right.
Yeah.
We have a medical program here at ECO as well. Anyone that's prescribed to ECO can get a 1 ounce of Lemorange.
Seriously?
Seriously. So we have this product available from Strain Hunters.
Yeah.
And the best part about this is that we control the pricing. So because of medical program, so we can offer our pricing, compassionate pricing, low income pricing. It all depends on the type of consumer, patient, and what they need. And if we have a patient that finds that this is helping them, then we will make sure to get it in their hands so that they can heal.
Wow.
Not at the retail pricing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
feel
much
like I
more
start
affordable.
getting glaucoma right now. I need help.
So the really nice thing too is this is all committed, every single gram in here. So we're really proud of ourselves. This didn't just happen. It's hard work. The dedication that you see, the scrubbing the floors, filling the pots, packaging the bags, lawn nights, early mornings, that's all a direct result of accomplishments that ultimately lead towards reputation, quality, consistency. We're really proud of this. This is like Brent and my meeting room that we come in. This is Brent's office, and it's something that we take a lot of pride in, because this is the barometer of our business. Is it successful or not? Well, if we can't even walk in the room because we're sitting on a year or two supply worth of product, that's showing we're not doing something right. It doesn't matter what we think, it's what the consumer or the patient his experiences are.
Yeah. Brent, you also told me when we were downstairs to remind you about the dog.
You can, yes, I would like for Denise to talk about our river.
Right. I'll go back to as far as, my first golden that had cancer, my golden retriever, back in, what was it, 212, 211. My son, the one that got in trouble for using cannabis, he was only 18, 19 at the time. Unbeknownst to me, he was giving Zach a little bit of oil. And all of a sudden, Zach was getting better. But Peter was afraid that we were going to find out, so he stopped. Zach died, okay? So it was years later that Peter told me, hey, by the way, I gave Zach cannabis. And I was like, really? That was why we noticed that difference that time. Fast forward to 2 years ago, my golden retriever was diagnosed with a mass. It was 12 centimeters, and it was in front of her heart. And that day when I found out, they said she had days, maybe weeks to live. So I said to Peter, what should we do? Peter said, well, you have nothing to lose, Mom. Nothing. You have everything to gain, nothing to lose. So that night, it was a Friday night, we went to Cannabis, New Brunswick. We bought the highest THC extract that we could find, oil or extract, and we brought it back. And I started that night. I researched it. It was 3 times a day, the size of like half a grain of rice, 3 times a day.
Rick Simpson oil.
It was
Live
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 rosin.
rosin.
So the next day, sorry, Brent. The next day, I gave her some. I just, a little piece of bread, and she ate it. Seriously, like day 2, she was eating. walking again. Like, she was very lethargic. She wasn't eating.
She was dying.
She was dying, right? So day 2, I noticed a bit of a difference in her. Day 3, and then like within a week, she was back to normal. Like, she was running around, rolling in the grass with her sister, who we still have today. And so then about a month later, I brought her to the vet, and I told my vet
couldn't believe
what
it.
we were doing. And so she said, would you mind if I started x-raying her? So she started x-raying her. And I think it was after four months, I have it all documented, she did an x-ray. Her tumor in front of her heart went from 12 centimeters to 2.
Wow.
And you're not supposed to give THC to a dog.
Yes,
and
that's
this
what
was
they
pure
say.
THC.
Yeah.
This was the
3 times
highest
a
I
day.
could find.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, anyway, fast forward, she lived and stayed with us for 18 months.
18 months.
And we just lost her this Christmas, but it wasn't from a cancer related. Her stomach flipped. So that's why she passed.
The autopsy.
Yeah,
say about
so
BC
they
there.
they did an autopsy, and there's a vet in British Columbia who has her file, and because Dr. Egan here in Rishabukto, she x-rayed her every month free of charge, and just kept all the documentation to send off to this lady in BC who's doing testing on animals with THC, not just CBD.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
So-
guys, you're doing such a great job.
Yeah.
And we
I
just
was
happen
so
to be in the cannabis business.
Yeah.
And we're giving our dog cannabis, and
Yeah.
these are the results. The vets couldn't believe it.
No, right now vets cannot prescribe cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
They can't. But if they say, what about cannabis? Then the vet can say, here's what I recommend. This is
Mm-hmm.
what you should do. So a lot of her clients were coming to me, and I would say what I did, and they were doing it with their animals. So yeah.
Wow.
I will someday have a product, and it will be in honor of my dog, River. Her name is River, and
It's a great name for strain, by the way.
yeah, and she just, she had such a great 18 months of life, and she was it was a miracle.
And it's all because of cannabis.
All because of cannabis.
If you
yeah.
want, we can make this episode in the memory of the river.
I would love that.
That's what we're
I
gonna
would
do.
absolutely love that.
That's
Thank
what
you.
we're gonna do.
Thank you.
Pleasant dreams, old friend. May your suffering end as you close your eyes in sleep. Pleasant dreams, old friend, till we meet again. Your sweet memory I'll keep. I'll be loving you and missing